All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Death Parade. Episode 12.
I'm already
Final
crying.
Episode. Yep.
Yeah.
This is going to be it's going to be interesting. The final basically judgment.
Yes.
And
whatever that Oculus guy is going to do, that will probably screw up everything.
Yeah, I feel like I know it's going to hurt in some ways, but I also feel like it's going to be beautiful. So I don't want to predict too much and end up being kind of looking,
if anything,
like to trivialize what this ending could be.
If anything, I want to prepare myself in case this is one of those shows that Madhouse really should have made a sequel for, but didn't because they're Madhouse.
Yeah, exactly. And they have a reputation to uphold.
That's right.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into this episode and see how it all ends. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, boy. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just go away, old fart.
Yeah.
The way he's sort of leaning forward.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, boy. Mm-hmm. Whoa.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's gross to say.
Yeah. Myself included.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then where did you guys come from?
Yeah. Wow. If they're made from the souls of people that have been cast into the void. Wow.
So, but they always do the same thing. That means what? This has happened before?
Probably. Oh my gosh, here we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi. I love this guy.
Yeah.
Clavis is his name, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes. Is her memories? Yeah. Is it a dream?
I don't think so.
Is this the result of... Is this the result of Deckham's actions?
Yeah. I think maybe this is her final test, maybe?
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Oh, Suicide
Suicide Tour?
Oh, boy.
Oh.
So this whole place is recreated to...
Show her the impact of her suicide, probably.
Maybe. Whoa. But what is this place?
Well, what I'm worried about?
I think this is that the place is basically the ones that would go and transpose yourself into the current reality of the world.
Maybe.
But actually not be able to interact with any of the people there.
That would suck.
Yeah. Kind of like Ghosts of Christmas Past and stuff from... Oh, no, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Okay. Oh. They're taunting us with the feels right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the way she walks.
Right. What?
Subdued and defeated.
No, but why is she calling out to Chiyuki?
It's the
Chiyuki's...
No, it's the place with her picture and everything.
Oh, so she's saying, Chiyuki, I'm home to her... Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Whoa.
That's the ultimate test.
But who at the cost of a life?
Right.
What will the life be?
Or is Decim even telling the truth? Is this his way to test her?
It's his life.
Well, it might be. It might be.
Or maybe it's not him, it will be a real person. It's just that she won't even remember him ever.
Right, but does he even have the power to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Didn't need feelings anyways. She can't hear you.
Yeah. Whoa. What a test. Yeah, from the very beginning. Yep. Oh. Oh, the chills. Oh. 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 Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like he does for her. Yeah. Oh, he's feeling it now too. No, he's feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
These are the emotions. This is.
Mm-hmm.
This is.
Is he gonna press it?
Yeah. 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 Yep. Yep. Oh, Oculus is here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
His eyes.
Yeah. Here we are.
The void.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, are his eyes still different?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah. She understands.
Oh. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nona, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well said, Nona. Whoa.
No. Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
She just completely
she's completely baffled him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
His eyes are back.
Yeah.
They're already back up.
Yeah. Ha! Say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh. He's feeling lost.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There you
go.
Yeah.
There you go. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Oh. Chiyuki. You were right. She's gonna come back after having been reincarnated, and she's gonna be like, wait, I recognize you. Clavis, what are you doing? Whatever, let's drink.
Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Are we going to see a fourth one in here? Oh. Yes, please. Oh no, it's just the cycle continues.
Does it?
These aren't at all related to... But how has he changed? He smiled.
Nice.
Yes!
Nice. Oh, wait! Yeah, he made a dummy of her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. That's
the end.
That's the end of Death Parade. Wow.
Okay.
That's a good show.
It is. There's a part of me that still wishes they did something of showing her coming back to Quinn
coming back after having
lived again
a full life.
And
to be fair, she was already reincarnated, so it would have been her second life, living a full second life.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
And
although the thing they did with Deckham smiling was great too. He's learned basic customer service for the.
But I really want to take a minute to kind of to talk about how this show set everything up so well. Now, the show itself is very short. There's not much to set up. But every single person that came through Quinn Deckham added to the
overall
impact
point
of Chiyuki's life.
Yes.
And being
Deckham
on
too.
Deckham. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So they kind of told us that was the case when she thought back to all the people's lives and those that had basically cared so much about another person that they would willingly sacrifice their own life, or just cared so deeply about another person.
Yep.
And even if they were to care so deeply about another person to do horrible things like the police guy did,
or the mom,
exactly. The point is that people care that much, and that's the combination of the human emotion, but also the connection and the understanding that these people have for each other, which is it's just so good.
Yeah, that's great that they brought that up, and that they made sure to do that with all of the characters, because even with the people like the policemen and stuff, because I would say that really is important. Especially with the kind of show Death Parade is, but doubly so given what they wanted to do with all of the individual episodic episodes building up towards the overarching narrative for Deckham and for Chiyuki.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I totally didn't notice that they were building that up, of making sure to show how each person in there had someone that they deeply cared about. Even for the person who didn't seem to care about anything, the guy that ended up committing suicide, he still, oh, my mom, that's right.
Right, and that's exactly the same thing that Chiyuki ended up coming to the realization of when she took her own life. It's a show that I know that you need to have a very specific kind of emotional kind of side to you.
Or
just kind of a thing to really be able to take it with the hits, because there are some really powerful transcendent themes in this show.
Yes,
that
absolutely
make it. It's like what is the value of human life? Like what is it? Right. And it's the connection. It's that aspect of having two people that care about each other so much that you understand each other, that you exchange, love. There's that.
Yeah, and even
connection. It's the best way to put it.
And even if the people don't necessarily understand each other,
right?
The fact that they care,
right?
Even in the case of the twisted police officer,
right? He
cared. It got twisted to somewhere dark, but he still cared.
Yeah.
All the other people throughout it, they cared. The wife that, deceived her husband, she cared. They didn't understand each other,
right?
But they cared.
Yeah.
And
even when we go through Deckham's whole arc within the story of where he goes from being an emotionless kind of dummy to where he
that didn't really understand.
They didn't really understand his interactions with a human and his closeness to a human led to a desire to want to understand said human, and brought about the connection that ended up being the means by which she was actually saved. Because
and him too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, him definitely. Yeah. And the idea that he'll have eons to
care,
to develop that compassion, that care, will mean that he will go through a lot of the same struggles that humans will as he judges people, as he bears more of their darkness or their light inside him. It'll change him. And that's kind of the cool thing, is that...
And it'll also help them, all the people that come through.
Yes,
it won't.
absolutely.
It won't be so predisposed to, draw out the darkness in them, but to maybe bring out the best and
to understand them.
To understand them. Yeah,
that's, I think, the really main thing, is that Deckham now has the means by which he can actually understand the people themselves, rather than understanding the
circumstances,
the factors, or the numeral value of their souls,
the quantifiable data,
to where he can then make more balanced judgments. But also, I would say love is the kind of thing where you suffer with those who suffer. And when someone comes to face-to-face with their death and they realize that they've lost the connection to those that they loved and cared about, there is suffering in that.
Yeah.
And there is an acceptance, of course, but there is a pain to that. And he will be able to understand that and weigh that against the stuff that they bring up from disclosing more of their soul, their nature of who they are to Deckham.
Yeah.
And I love how Chiyuki's brief time in Quindeckham was primarily there to have a lasting ripple effect on the residents, so to speak.
Well, and you know what that means. So since Chiyuki had that effect on Deckham, right? Deckham now can have that effect on the other arbiters.
Yeah, and those arbiters can have the effect on their people it just continues on forever. The ripple does not end. No JoJo pun intended at all.
No, you totally
I totally intended that. Yeah,
you totally did.
The final bit about this show being essentially the relationship between two people.
Yeah,
like not specifically Deckham and Chiyuki, but just the idea of a relationship, two people.
Yes.
The connection of humanity shared between that is something that we still haven't fully... I think we still haven't fully realized how powerful and how valuable that is. And it's more than just kind of the understanding. It's the actual connection within that. And how much one affects the other and influences the other in a very powerful way, to where when they had that scene of them just in the void and they understood each other, I think, for the first time, where they both understood each other at the same moment, and they just cried and cried.
Oh boy.
That hit me somewhere deep, because when you have someone who's like Deckham, who's basically you could try and find a way to transpose him into a human kind of setup and have it work to where, oh, I know someone who's cut themselves off from their emotions, or someone who's numb emotionally for whatever reason.
Right, but it doesn't have to be in an absolute sense either.
It doesn't.
It can even just be someone where in that moment they've sort of cut themselves off, or from this specific person they've cut themselves off.
Yeah, and there's a really powerful thing that happens when another human being understands the one that cut themselves off, and basically like kind of opening a dam, or just kind of punching a hole in that, and then just the tear gates, the floodgates just happen, and there's so much freedom in that. And I feel like there's kind of this idea that Deckham was the one that had the binding little chain threads and what have you, but he had some on himself, and in that moment, or in the moments leading up to that, they were slowly breaking, and then the last one broke there, and he was able to not only judge her as close as he could be to a human, but also in a way to where he understood her and himself.
Yeah.
And
one of the things that I'm really glad they did here is that they made it so that Deckham still he still tried to judge her. He put her through a lot of pain that, and granted it helped her understand, how much her mom loved her and everything like that.
Yeah.
But he still deceived her. And the idea that he did that, and he was so remorseful for that,
hurt by it.
Yeah, so hurt by it, and
she was experiencing her pain,
right? Exactly.
Through him, and empathy, straight up empathy,
right? And that's I'm really glad they did that, because that, I would say that allowed them much better to show what love really is than if they'd done something different, because love forgives, love even if it doesn't understand completely, it
seeks to understand.
It seeks to understand. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And a lot of the time that's the most important thing. It's so I really like how they did that.
Also the bit of just visually of having him trying to restrain back his own heart, like you see him clutching at it, like stop, like this isn't.
Reminded me of like the Grinch, starts growing.
But also having the visual aspect of doing a little bit of a Christmas Carol kind of setup where the person gets to view their past through the current gets to view the current state of them not being alive,
and how it affects the people,
and how it affects the people that they care about. In that he used that in such a way to leverage the idea that all you need to do is just take another person's life and you'll live again. And it's like, oh my gosh, you put really the whole thing, and in a way I think because even then he understood her before that, he knew that this was the best test he could give her, because it's the perfect thing that she wants, and he knows that she's not going to do it.
And it's not
that he 100% knows.
And it's not even just that she wants it, but she probably didn't want it until then, and at that point she wanted it not for herself, but because she was so full of regret that she inflicted so much pain on the people closest to her. And that's
the real stuff there.
That is the real stuff there. Like I'm so glad that that this show covered that, because this feels like the kind of thing where it was looking to tell a story, but it was also seeking to really communicate something, something very tangible and real to the audience, about not just human connection, but what suicide does.
And that's a good point. A lot of shows tend to avoid that whole topic, because it's a heavy one, but also it's one to where a lot of people have very deeply held beliefs about the whole subject to where if you start kind of, dealing with it in a very focused sense, you could seriously turn some people away.
Yeah. And a lot of times, there will be those things that will be like the chain posts on Facebook of like, okay, I'm here for you if you're ever having trouble, or stuff like that. And those are good, but that a lot of times that doesn't. That's hard to. I don't even know how to say it, but because they made it here be something that was fictional, and instead of saying just like, don't do that, but they actually showed, even though it was a work of fiction, the kind of effect something like that can really have, because it isn't the end. It just pushes your problems onto those you care about most, and so
and from the standpoint of also having the main character be the one that had the mental health issues to where they led to their suicide, it's another thing to show that people who make that kind of a choice aren't evil people. They're not.
Oh, absolutely not.
They're not people that are deserving of all the negativity that led to that. It's not even in a way completely a thing of their own choice. It's once you get to that kind of a negative state, you've essentially given up that whole idea of choice.
You've relinquished your own choice.
You've relinquished your own will and your soul in a way, and it's not even that. It wasn't necessarily your choice, but more of like something that was eroded away over time. And a lot of people have gone through a depression of sorts, but as someone who's experienced to some extent the kind of depression that leads to the kind of stuff that Chiyuki went through, I can say that this was a very respectful show of the whole setting.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that they didn't go through with the idea of having this be now she gets to see her mother again, and took away from the idea that this show is about the nature
consequences of...
Well, no, it's about the nature of humanity. In that it is not about... the whole suicide story is a story within the story about the nature of humanity.
Yeah.
And that in that moment, the most beautiful thing she could have done for her mother, she decided not to, because that would take away from the free choice, the will of someone else, and therefore keep that cycle going. And even Deckham tried to trivialize the whole idea by saying 7,000 people die every day.
Right.
Or was it every hour?
Every hour. It might have been every hour.
It was a lot. And he's basically saying you can add to that number by one if you want to save yourself.
Well,
and even then, all the way up until the end, she was basically saying, I can't do it. But she wanted to so much to the point to where she begs Deckham to be the one to press the button.
Yeah, and okay, this was... So, I think the part that got to me the most from this whole scene was actually like very specific small parts of it.
Okay.
That how Chiyuki remembers her mom basically trying to comfort her, and you can just see that she doesn't know what to do. Right? She doesn't know how to reach her daughter. And like that's that feeling. There's not much to say. There's nothing really to say about it. But what I loved was that when she made the decision not to press the button, right? It wasn't just that she was remembering how everyone else has the people that they care about and the people that they love. But in my mind at least, it was also the fact that she remembered what her mother said, which is the fact that because she was like, what am I without skating and all that, and she's like, I think it's incredible. Just like the best thing that you can do is just growing up to where you are now.
Right.
And the idea that the very decision not to is in and of itself something that's valuable enough and precious enough that while her mother may have desperately wanted her daughter back, her mother also would have wanted her daughter to remain true to herself.
Right.
Even in death.
Yeah.
Even if that meant not coming back.
Right.
And that wasn't what was actually the thing that
the show intended
to do.
Right. But that was the effect
that was a connection I made, and I love that it's there.
Right. I think also the show puts these really tough decisions that have some kind of moral or ethical potential ramifications in the hands of these characters so that we can see what type of person they are under, the most difficult of circumstances. Yeah. And that gives you a very brilliant, obvious kind of pointing in which direction that character would be when you put it to that extreme. But Deckham had talked about how, some of that judging process was actually wrong, and yet sort of in a way manipulated the situation so that Chiyuki wasn't really ready for the aspect of this being a part of her judgment. And then when she was brought into the basement, essentially, and had this whole thing basically put on her as a test, she passed the test without realizing she was in a test. So Deckham really laid it on thick, and that must have been really hard for him in the build-up as well to make sure that he sold this. So everything that the mother was doing was not necessarily what she's actually doing
in real life.
Yeah, it's basically making it as hard emotionally as possible to say no to the idea of killing someone else so that you can live.
Yeah,
and I think that aspect of it shows how much Deckham
actually does understand and care.
Yeah, because he had to do it in such a way that would hurt as much as possible
for her personally.
Yeah,
and in order to do that, you have to understand
the person.
Yeah, right.
So for him, he thought, I can do this. This will be the perfect test for her. And then when the emotion comes out of Chiyuki, he cannot hold it back.
Nope,
he's like, this hurts. This is killing me. And I wonder if the reason why the illusion was shattered was because he was about to grant her request and do it. But he snapped himself out of it and was like, no, end the whole thing. Break the illusion of the test. She passed. I can't keep this going any further. Otherwise, I'm going to essentially be the one that's finding out my own weakness there. And I don't think he necessarily would have done it because, one, it wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But two, it just shows how powerful the effect of the whole thing was on him in addition to her.
Yes, so, absolutely.
Yeah. I like the conversation that Nona and Oculus had also.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was
she gave him the smackdown.
Really powerful because they didn't interfere, which I thought they would.
I thought they would too, and I'm really glad they didn't because that would have sucked to have them being having this awesome moment. At first, I thought we both thought this, that the thing shattering was actually Oculus showing
coming up
and it was going to be like, oh, that's great, you're having your tender moment. Well, both of you are getting your souls ripped out,
or something,
or whatever.
Yeah, but instead, Oculus and Nona had a little bit of an impasse where Oculus
she drop-kicked him.
Yes, eventually. But in the beginning, he was basically saying, you're going to lead to the ruin of not only potentially this Arbiter, but all the Arbiters.
Of them. Yeah.
And she's like, nah, you're wrong. And then
you could see the literal moment when he just blue screened and
when he blue screened. Yes, great way to put it.
It's not working.
It was when she said that humans live in the present, and that was when he was just like, he's like, but they're brought here and they're dead. How can they live in the present? they're dead. There is no present.
Right. Yes.
Error 404, file not found, does not compute.
Yeah.
I loved that. Because if you think about it, humans living in the present. I think it's the desire of all humans that we could actually live in the present. But the problem is we kept getting tugged on by the future and the past.
Exactly. It almost seems like one of those sayings that's like so simple, it almost sounds stupid, but it's actually really,
extremely profound.
Really profound.
Yeah. To where the idea that they observed that human beings, once they realize that they're dead,
that's when they truly start
to live in the present, and it's when they actually start to live. So when Chiyuki's brought there and she's aware that she's dead, and that truly living effect can then pass on to the Arbiters. Essentially, the Arbiters will be able to live by having observed true living, because they haven't really observed it outside of that brief moment where they are aware that they're alive, and then they're judged and they move on. But by having her stick around and by having that time be there, that seeps through. It allows for a connection, an understanding to be developed. And then, therefore, the Arbiters are changed in some way. But also, they never really dealt with the idea of whether or not Deckham had actual human emotions inside him, or whether or not it was just the effect of having Chiyuki around him all that much.
I say it's kind of both.
It is both. It is both. But the point is that we don't know if they literally grabbed human emotion as like a chip and shoved it into his brain. Basically.
Oh, sure, or removed it when they create Arbiters. Because here's the issue that I have with the whole Arbiter thing and Arbiters not having emotions.
Right.
Even if they're grabbed from souls from the void, and maybe they're tampered with to make their emotions be really subdued or whatever, you can't really ever get rid of it. Being made
I figured it out.
Humans.
I figured it out.
What?
The void. That's the trump card. That's the thing that breaks all human soul, emotion, everything like that. It's the idea that once you're in the void for that long, it eradicates it. But the idea is that it can't actually eradicate all of it.
Right.
It gives away just a little bit enough to where the computer cannot detect human emotion.
Well, and
it's at levels to where it's negligible or it's not even there, when actually it is there.
And here's the thing, because this makes it way more awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Give it to me. What is it?
That means that this is not just the redemption story for Chiyuki and all the people who come through to be judged,
right?
But it is also the redemption story of every single Arbiter,
right?
Because they were someone who was previously determined to be voided,
right?
And now they're back, and now they'll get their chance to become human again,
right? Which could be a problem for the Arbiters as things go with the current system,
or is it actually the perfect way for it to go, because they've essentially been wiped clean and now they get to start over?
We don't know, but I think that's great. That's the kind of question to where we don't need to know that.
All we know is that a sequel would be cool.
I think a sequel,
they don't need to do it.
They wouldn't have been necessary because the story was about Chiyuki and Deckham.
Absolutely.
The two of them, opposites, brought together in this very unique, interesting circumstance.
So a sequel isn't actually needed, but I very much
a spin-off
or something
where maybe they show 1,000 years in the future, Deckham and all the other Arbiters are still there, but then of course there are new Arbiters that are added in, and it's then the effect of how these older Arbiters, because I don't think it needs to be a continuation of the present plotline, except for the idea that Chiyuki's presence there made a lasting impact on Quinn Deckham as a whole.
And here's how I would love to see that, actually. So we have talked many a time how we wish there was an OVA for the opening.
Ah, yes.
That's how they could do it.
There you go.
They wanted to do it. They
have just a couple OVAs.
Right. Even just one if they wanted to, but just to show basically a little bit further on how not just Quinn Deckham, but all the Arbiters have changed a bit, and see just where they are now.
Right.
And they kind of did that with Deckham, but
I think though the main issue with that is we don't really have enough Arbiters to really care about. It's kind of a limited character cast there because it's a short show.
Yeah.
So that we weren't there to develop the inner machinations of the memory girl.
Maybe I just want to see them all like dancing
and stuff,
and like playing games and stuff. Like
I agree. That would be a fun OVA. And if any of you guys know about an OVA like that, let us know. I'm pretty sure there is one. In fact, I actually remember some people saying there's one that's like a billiard something.
No, that's what Death Parade was based on.
Oh,
so Death Parade is an original show that was based off of an OVA that was done at like a film festival or whatever, and was really popular, that did the same basic kind of a thing, except they didn't actually show whether people went to the afterlife or to the void. It was just like left to be like audience interpretation.
Cool. Very clever.
Yeah. But, so unfortunately, I don't think there is, because...
Okay, so it's more of just the original material that this was based off of.
Yep.
Okay, we'll probably watch that on our own time then.
Yeah, at some point.
All right. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. I feel like, though, the main thing about this, as far as discussion goes, is that we realize that the characters have come to a place of understanding and as such have changed each other. And that's the main thing, I think, that they can bring up as the theme about this show is the nature of humanity is ever changing. Yeah. It's not something that you can quantify as being good or evil. It's this state of something that is constantly altered by the environment and the forces in that environment. Sure. In as much as, yes, there are other factors you bring into there, but it keeps it from being simplified. And also, the very important aspect is human connection and understanding does wonders for the nature of a human.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it can fundamentally change everything.
What's that cheesy line from the Frozen song? People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. Throw a little love their way. You'll bring out their best. True love brings out the best.
Yeah. That aspect of humanity is something that could not be judged without specific circumstances being put into place, like having someone like Chiyuki around for someone like Decim.
Or having someone like Mayu around.
Yes. Mayu, rest in peace. You were wonderful. We loved every minute you were on screen. You were a joy. You were fantastic.
That whole episode is just so.
That's how you get someone into Death Parade.
No,
because
they will be.
They won't appreciate it as much.
A completely different show. They won't appreciate it. They need to start with the somber stuff, so that way when that comes around, they're just completely sidelined by it.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Well, that was really fun, guys.
It was.
Thank you very much for sticking around to watch our reactions to this and listen to our discussions. It was really good.
Yeah. If you want to see the first episode of the next show we will be doing, which we don't actually know quite what that is yet because the poll's still going at the time of recording this video, check out the Patreon. You can get that on early access.
Yeah. Also get Discord access where you can chat with us about storytelling or what have you.
Yeah.
Also comes with access to the polls to where you can vote on future shows and such, which is pretty legit.
Yeah.
But we'll see you there. Until next time, though, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.